This is what I think every team's goal should be in 2023. So on Team Maker, we got 5 categories. We got flag, top 4, finals, competitive, and rebuild. I'm basically just going to be putting every team into the category that I think their goal should be for season 2023. So let's get straight into it. Okay, starting with the Adelaide Crows. They've obviously been in a rebuild for probably 3 years now. I reckon it's time for them to start aiming for the finals. I reckon their list can do it. Do I think they can do it? Probably not just yet. I do reckon they just need another couple of years. They really need to add some polish to their list still, in my opinion. But I reckon their goal should be to make finals still. But overall, they'll probably just be a competitive side. Moving on to the Brisbane Lions, they probably have the most stacked list in the AFL. They just got guns everywhere, left, right and centre. Some good draft picks, some beautiful trades like Jack Gunston. It's time for them to be in the flag contention. With the list they've got, they really should be pushing for a grand final, if not a flag. I don't reckon they will win the flag this year, but their goal should definitely be the flag. Moving on to Carlton, I reckon their goals are pretty clear. It's obviously finals. Top 4 is a bit of a push, I reckon. For a start, they just need to make finals, and then they should probably start worrying about top 4. But yeah, I reckon finals is what they should be aiming for, and I actually reckon they could miss out on finals again. I just reckon, yeah, I just have a feeling they're going to miss out again, even though I put them in the top 8 in my predictions. But anyway, Collingwood, their goal is probably the flag as well, to be fair. As you know, they just have a great list as well, adding Tom Mitchell, just guns to the list over the off-season. I'm sure their goal would be to win the flag, and boy, they have a good chance to do it. Western Bulldogs, a bit of a tricky one, but I would probably say finals. Honestly, they had a pretty good trade season, adding in guys like Rory Lobb that really fill in key positions, and that's exactly what they need. I reckon they could be a danger team this year, and the goal would definitely be to make the finals. Top 4 is probably a bit of a push, and yeah, they'll definitely be a finals side. At least that's what they will hope for. Moving on to Essendon, this is a very hard one. I'm not sure anyone knows what Essendon are going to do this year, to be fair. You know what, I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say their goal is to make finals. I reckon they have a list that can do it. They had a poor season last year. It was extremely poor, but they have a very easy draw this year. I think they have the easiest draw in the competition. Therefore, they should be making finals if they can get their act together. If Brad Scott can get their act together, I reckon their goal will be to make finals. Moving on to Fremantle, another tricky one, but I reckon their goal will be to make the top 4. I don't think they will make the top 4. I think they had a really bad trade season, and I reckon they actually will miss finals, but their goal will probably be to make the top 4. Geelong, probably the easiest one in this video. It's quite clear their goal is to win the flag. You know, after winning the flag last year, what a season they had. Can they do it again? Only time will tell. Do I think they can do it again? I don't think they can do it again. I feel like they're just not going to have that passion and hunt to win it again. But we'll see what they can do in season 2023. Moving on to the Gold Coast Suns. Their goal is definitely to make finals. Boy, they've came close last year. I reckon they can make finals at their best. If they can get their list full and healthy, they will be a very dangerous team in season 2023, and their goal is definitely to make finals. Moving on to the GWS Giants, their goal is definitely the rebuild. They just gave up a lot of players in the trade season and got a lot of draft picks, which makes it clear that their goal is to rebuild. And I guess they are going through a rebuild now, and it's going to take a lot of time. So this might be a painful year and painful many years for Giants fans. Hawthorn, very similar to the Giants. They got rid of pretty much all their good players. No more Tom Mitchell, no more Amira. They are going heavy in the draft, and they're definitely in the rebuild stages, and this will be some painful years for Hawthorn fans. Moving on to Melbourne, I reckon their goal is to win the flag. What an off-season they had, recruiting guys like Brodie Grundy, who's just an X-factor to their list, and I reckon they're definitely in the flag contention, and that's definitely the goal for this year. Moving on to North Melbourne, this is a bit of an interesting one. Even though they're clearly in the middle of a rebuild, I actually could see them doing decently well this year under Clarko. I really like them at the moment. I don't know why. They just feels fresh. It's like they know what they're doing all of a sudden. They should be a competitive side in 2023, and that's probably what their goal is. Moving on to Port Adelaide. Their goal is probably finals as well. Top 4 is probably a bit of a push. Definitely a finals worthy side. Obviously, they're 0-5 at the start of last season. That preliminary final loss to the Bulldogs the year before really hurt them. But I reckon they'll bounce back this year and have a pretty good season, and I can easily see them making finals, and that's definitely what their goal is. Moving on to Richmond, I reckon their goal was to make the top 4, honestly. They had a fantastic year last year, only a few losses in the back end of the season, and they were very narrow losses into teams like North Melbourne, who they should probably beat, so they're only just off the top 4. I reckon their top 4 is probably their goal this year, especially after adding players to the team like Taranto and Hopper. You would expect them to be a better side than what they were last year, and they've got a decent draw, I think, as well, so their goal should definitely be making the top 4. Moving on to St Kilda, it's hard to get a read of them, but their goal was definitely to make finals still. The list is a bit, it's not the best list, but I suspect they'll be aiming for finals, but I don't reckon they'll have a good year. Moving on to my team, the Sydney Swans. I have to put them in flag contention, I reckon that their goal will be to win the flag this year, as, they just fall short last year, or even though they got smashed. They had a fantastic year and just really had a shocker on grand final day, but at least if they make grand final again, they'll be much better than what they were last year, and I reckon their goal will still be to win the flag. And last but not least, West Coast. I reckon the goal is similar to North Melbourne, to be competitive as well, as if you look at their list, they still have some stacked good names on there, good players on there, and they definitely should be a competitive side, and finals is probably a bit of a push for them. But yeah, that is what I reckon every team's goal is in 2023. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a big fat thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon for another video.